Okay folks, welcome back to Ashmore Arboretum, and today I'm going to be showing you how to take a piece of leather like I've got here, and we're going to be making a sheath for a set of Fisker's pruning shears. Slide in there. These are water molded. It's a custom fit, and necessity is the father of invention, and needed some way to carry my Fiskars around without poking a hole in my pocket. So I went ahead and made a couple of prototypes. This is a left-hand model for my father, who is left-handed. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do this. Take this out here. Okay. What I did is I cut an 8-inch section of this leather here, and this is 10-ounce leather. Let me see how thick that is. I cut an 8-inch section of 10-ounce leather, and I drew up a pattern of the outline of my set of pruning shears. And I drew that and I transferred that to a piece of wood, and I cut that pattern out. And I kept both pieces of the cutout. The reason I did that is so I could water mold the leather for a custom fit for the sheath. And how I did this, I took this piece of leather that I had cut off my original hide, and I stuck it under the water for about a minute, minute and a half, something like that. And I put my mold on this sacrificial block of wood, and I put this piece of wet leather on top of it, and I just used some simple hand clamps to press this down and hold it in place. And I let it sit overnight, and it retains its shape. You see it picked up the mold. It's retained its shape very well. What I do from here is I trace it out 3/8 of an inch all the way around this mold, and I cut it out. I cut a strip of leather that is, let's see here, we've got almost 4 inches wide, and however long I want my holster to be. Now the next process is I'm going to glue this piece of molded leather to this back strap, and then I'll get ready to use my tools here and cut a groove around the outside of this mold so I can punch my holes for the stitches and go ahead and get ready to stitch this piece together. So stand by and we will get to that in just a moment. But after I get one sewn together, this is what it looks like after it's sewn together, and it's been water molded. This set of pruning shears sat overnight in this wet molded leather. I attached a heavy duty clip to the back with just some screw rivets. This is nice and secure, and I found that this much drop makes it real comfortable when it's attached to your belt, and that's just a little bit of a trial and error type thing. And then I went about staining this leather with some of my 5-Eins leather dye, and I really prefer that 5-Eins leather dye because it's alcohol based and it dries relatively quickly. And like I said, this is a left-hand model for my father, who is left-handed, and this is a right-handed model for me. So hold tight and I'll show you how I do this process. I'm going to take my piece of molded leather, I'm going to lay it on my back strap. I'm going to take my stylus, and I'm just going to trace around this so I have a rough idea where this is going to be. Now, I see my line. I'm going to scarify this just slightly, so that way the glue adheres a little bit better. And I'm going to take my razor knife and I'm just going to scratch about 3/16 of an inch to the inside of that line, all the way around. It's a little bit of a process, but I found that it makes the rubber cement adhere a little bit better. Essentially what you're doing is you're adding more surface area for the bonding to take place. This is the same process I used when I built my single action revolver holster last year. And actually this is leftover leather from building that holster and gun belt rig. Now you want a heavier leather for this project because you want a little bit of rigidity so it retains its shape when you're putting your pruning shears in and out. And if you're an avid gardener like I am, my wife and I are, you'll be using your shears a lot throughout the course of the day. So number one, it's nice having it, on my hip where it's not poking holes in my pant pockets anymore. Number two, it's going to be nice having this clipped to my belt, and that is enough of a drop. It just makes it real comfortable, so I can just pull it in and out. And with this being wet molded, there's a little bit of a retention there, so I don't have to worry about losing it. If I lean over or I'm on my knees or something, it's not going to fall out. And that's what you want. You want to have a little bit of a retention there. And this will loosen up a little bit with time. I'm not too worried about it right now. And actually this one still has a little bit more processes to go through. I have to dye it, then I have to coat it with the oil. But this one is the finished product. You see it goes in and out just fine. No issues. Okay, we're ready to bond these two together. And I'm using Tanner's bonding cement. I'm going to do this in a well ventilated area. I don't know if you can tell, but I do have a fan on. And I'm just going to follow my line. And this has got about a 1/4 inch lip. So I'll go a 1/4 inch, maybe a little more. Because you want to make sure it bonds all the way around. And the extra here is going to get cut off, and when you burnish it, you're not going to be able to see the glue marks. So I'm not too worried if I make a little bit of a mess at this stage anyway. And you want to make certain that you glue both sides. And this has got to sit for a minute until it starts to get tacky. And then I'll put them together. Okay. You should be, I don't know if you can see that, but it's starting to tack. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to put it on my back strap here. I'll get it situated. And now what I'm going to do, in order to make sure this adheres properly, I'm going to take that sacrificial wood I had earlier. We go under this. And I'm going to take this form that I had previously made. I'm going to set it on back on here, and I'm going to use my hand clamps to clamp this back down. And this will sit overnight like this until it's completely dry. And then tomorrow I will go about finishing this product. This is just a simple form that I made relatively quickly in the wood shop. Nothing fancy, but it's definitely functional. And for my purposes, it works just fine. Down here on the end. Okay. Well, then we're going to set that aside to cure overnight, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we'll get it cut out. Now what we're going to do with our previously molded form is I'm going to take a set of compass, and I'm just going to draw around. Let's see here. I'm at, looks like 3/8 of an inch. I guess that's 3/8 of an inch lip I'm leaving on this. I'm just going to go around, and that gives me plenty of space to stitch later. Now I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, hit it on my strop real quick. And this is just a handmade leather strop. I took a piece of cedar that we had laying around, and I glued a strip of leather to it, and I used my buffing compound until it turned green. Then I strop my blades. If you have a sharp tool to begin with, chances of you getting cut are very slim. That's very sharp. So I'm going to come back over here, make sure I'm positioned in the viewfinder to where you guys can see. I want to start cutting. Now, you do not want to cut this all in one go. You want to take your time. You want to make multiple cuts, going a little bit deeper each time. And this likes to unscrew on me a little bit. Stay tuned, I'll show you the finished product.